That's like marrying into the Budweiser family and going, they drink a lot.
This is so amazing. So many of you here to see me, huh? I feel like Meghan Markle. This is dope.
You're so racist. You're so racist. Some of that he went through was not racism. It was just some in-law. Sometimes it's just some in-law.
You see the interview last night? Oprah returned with Meghan and Harry in what will surely go down in history as the most shocking gender reveal party of all time. It's Harry, whose memoir just broke the Guinness record for fastest selling nonfiction book of all time. They're now releasing a version for kids. I don't know if you know about this. It's a twist on The Princess and the Pea. It's called The Prince and the Penis, and it's
Like, what's this girl, Meghan Markle? Oh, seemed like a nice lady. Just complaining. I was like, didn't she hit the light skin lottery?
A comedy special can change the public conversation in a matter of minutes, especially when a famous comedian decides that one of the most discussed celebrity controversies is fair game. That is exactly what happened when Chris Rock brought Meghan Markle into his Netflix special and challenged parts of the public story surrounding her experience with the royal family. And Chris Rock was not the only late-night figure making Meghan part of the joke. Jimmy Kimmel would also take shots at the Sussexes, adding to the impression that parts of Hollywood were becoming increasingly comfortable, mocking a couple who had once received major sympathy from celebrities and media personalities. The situation became especially interesting because Meghan and Prince Harry had spent years sharing their side of the royal dispute through interviews, documentaries, podcasts, and other public appearances. Supporters argued that they were speaking openly about difficult experiences, while critics believed the couple had repeated the same complaints too many times.
Everyone thinks marrying a prince is like a fairy tale. Turns out it's not. Meghan Markle said that when she joined the royal family, they took away her passport, driver's license, and keys. Welcome to the royal family. Please remove your belt and get ready for a cavity search. And her husband, Harry, made a number of startling accusations.
So well done. So brilliant. And it's like between that and the South Park thing, Emily, it's like the comedians they do a better job of bringing home someone's stupid, narcissistic, woke BS.
Then came March 2023. Chris Rock appeared in Netflix's live comedy special, Selective, Outrage, filmed at the Hippodrome Theatre in Baltimore. The event attracted massive attention because it was one of Rock's biggest appearances following the highly publicized incident involving Will Smith at the Academy Awards. Many viewers expected Rock to focus heavily on that controversy, but the comedian also turned his attention toward Meghan Markle and the explosive claims she had previously made about life inside the royal family. That was when the tone shifted. Rock questioned the idea that Meghan could enter one of the most famous families in the world without expecting complicated traditions, intense media attention, and uncomfortable family drama.
Biggest addiction in America is attention. We are addicted to attention. Can't get enough attention. We used to want love. Now we just want likes. Posting up pathetic pictures.
His jokes pushed back against the image of someone being completely surprised by the difficulties that came with joining the monarchy. Whether viewers agreed with Rock or not, the moment quickly became part of a much bigger debate. Rock then brought up Meghan and Prince Harry's 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey. During that interview, Meghan discussed conversations involving concerns about how dark Archie's skin might be before he was born. The claim became one of the most controversial moments connected to the couple's departure from royal duties. However, Rock approached the subject through comedy and questioned whether every conversation about a baby's appearance should automatically be treated as evidence of prejudice. His argument was delivered as a joke, but the reaction from the audience showed that the subject had clearly touched a nerve.
Gotta react to it. This is news making headlines today as yes, that's not racist. Meghan Markle, don't you dare call the royals racist. Oh man, this bit.
Even though all the news media ran with, she says there's a racist in the royal family and she never went out to correct them. Will she come out to correct herself? Because she also said the royal family's racist because there's been debates about what title little Archie's going to get. And she suggested that's because she's half black and Archie's 1/4 black. And that was her other charge of racism. And now we get the update today via the Daily Mail. Harry and Meghan have christened their daughter Princess Lilibet Diana. And they have updated the website, or will now be updating the website to call little Archie Prince Archie.
The crowd laughed loudly as Rock continued challenging Meghan's public complaints. From a commentary perspective, that reaction was important because it suggested that at least some viewers were becoming more comfortable questioning the Sussexes' version of events. Years earlier, criticizing Meghan's claims could create an immediate backlash, but now major comedians were openly using those controversies as material. Rock also mocked the idea that someone could marry into a globally famous institution and then appear shocked by the family's problems. The point behind the joke was simple. Famous families can still have private disputes, difficult personalities, and uncomfortable conversations. According to Rock's comedy routine, entering the royal family and expecting everything to be perfect was never realistic. And the audience response made the moment even more noticeable. The laughter was not simply about one joke. It reflected a wider shift in the celebrity conversation surrounding Meghan and Harry. Some critics believed the public had heard enough interviews and accusations, while supporters continued arguing that the couple had every right to discuss their experiences. But Chris Rock had now placed that entire debate in front of a massive audience and turned one of Meghan's most serious controversies into comedy material.
It was just some in-law. So she's complaining. I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? Oprah, they're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby was gonna be. They're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby's gonna be. I'm like, that's not racist. Because even black people want to know. How brown the baby goes.
That's what triggered into his bit on Meghan. He did a couple other little bits in between, but here's when Meghan comes into play. Oh, sorry, wait, it's this clip.
Everybody trying to be a victim. Like, what's this girl, Meghan Markle? Seemed like a nice lady.
She did.
Just complaining. I was like, didn't she hit the light skin lottery?
No, I added those images.
The light skin lottery and still going on complaining. Acting all dumb like she don't know nothing. Going on Oprah, I didn't know. I had no idea how racist they were. It's the royal family. You didn't Google these mother...
This is the biggest complaint she gets. You didn't Google these mother effers? How do you not Google these people? How do you not know the history of the royal family? And he's gonna lay into them even further.
And with Jimmy Kimmel also entering the conversation, the criticism surrounding Meghan Markle was about to take another sharp turn. That growing wave of comedy criticism created a bigger problem for Meghan Markle's public image. Chris Rock was not simply making jokes about one interview. His routine questioned the wider contrast between Meghan's privileged lifestyle and the way critics believed she continued presenting herself as someone constantly treated unfairly. Rock joked that Meghan had won what he called the light-skinned lottery, pointing to the fact that she married a prince and gained access to wealth, fame, and opportunities that most people could never imagine. From Rock's perspective, the contradiction was obvious. Here was someone living an extremely privileged life, yet much of the public conversation surrounding her continued to focus on personal struggles, unfair treatment, and conflict. Critics had been making that argument for years, but hearing it from one of America's biggest comedians gave the debate another level of attention.
We check behind them ears. That's a scientific test. Because you got to see what kind of black child you gonna get. Is this a Steph Curry baby? Or a Draymond Green baby? That Draymond baby gonna have a hard life. I know what she going through. I know what Meghan Markle's going through. I know her dilemma. Black girl trying to be accepted by her white in-laws. Oh, it's hard.
It's hard, right? That's what he's trying to claim here, but not as hard as what, Chris?
It ain't as hard as a white girl trying to be accepted by her black in-laws. You bring a white girl home for Thanksgiving, your mama gonna say something. Your mama's like, why is there a social worker at the table?
Clips and reactions quickly spread online, and the conversation surrounding Meghan and Harry shifted again. Some viewers began questioning whether the couple's public image had become too focused on complaints. Others defended them, arguing that wealth and privilege do not automatically erase difficult personal experiences. Either way, the comedy specials showed that openly mocking the Sussexes had become far more common. There was also an awkward detail hanging over the situation. Netflix was the same company that had released Harry and Meghan's documentary series only months earlier. The platform had invested heavily in content connected to the couple, and now one of its biggest comedy specials featured Chris Rock publicly challenging Meghan's claims. But Chris Rock was only one part of the story. Jimmy Kimmel had already been using Harry and Meghan as material for years, and his jokes showed just how quickly serious royal controversies could become late-night entertainment.
Turns out it's not. Meghan Markle said that when she joined the royal family, they took away her passport, driver's license, and keys. Welcome to the royal family. Please remove your belt and get ready for a cavity search. And her husband, Harry, made a number of startling accusations. The governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, vigorously denied all of them. Just had a reflex today. Meghan said that at one point, things got so bad, she went to HR at Buckingham Palace for help, and they were...
Back in March 2021, Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah Winfrey created an international media storm. The couple discussed allegations of prejudice inside the royal family, Meghan's mental health struggles, and the breakdown of their relationship with the palace. The interview dominated headlines and created intense debate around the world. Jimmy Kimmel responded during his opening monologue. He described the interview as the most shocking gender reveal party of all time, immediately turning one of the most controversial parts of the conversation into a joke. Kimmel also discussed Meghan's claims that she had felt silenced while living inside the royal system. At first, he appeared sympathetic. Then, the tone changed. Kimmel pointed out the irony of Harry and Meghan leaving Britain partly because of concerns about prejudice and eventually settling in the United States, a country with its own long and complicated history of racial tensions.
Wait, no one delivers a what like Oprah, huh? And who can blame her? Imagine after centuries of inbreeding, all of a sudden these people are concerned about the color of a baby's skin. Prince Charles has the ears of a basset hound. They're worried about the skin. And by the way, they should hope that the kid looks more like Meghan than Harry. No offense, but I mean, Harry kind of looks like the guy who played Screech, may he rest in peace. Anyway, Oprah promised shocking revelations last night. Not only did she deliver them, no one was more shocked by what was shocking than Oprah was.
The joke was clearly designed to question whether moving to America really offered an escape from the social problems they said they had experienced. Kimmel then turned toward the controversial conversations surrounding Archie's possible skin tone. Instead of focusing only on Meghan's allegations, he mocked the royal family's own complicated family history and joked that the monarchy had plenty of reasons to worry about genetics without bringing Meghan into the conversation. Harry himself became part of the punchline. Kimmel compared Prince Harry's appearance to Screech from Saved by the Bell, pushing the comedy even further and making it clear that neither side of the royal controversy was safe from ridicule. Then came January 2023. Prince Harry released his memoir, Spare, and the book immediately became a massive topic of public discussion. Harry revealed private arguments, family tensions, personal experiences, and several intimate details that quickly became material for comedians. One revelation attracted especially intense attention. Harry described suffering a frostbite injury during a trip before Prince William's wedding and later using a cream associated with his mother, Princess Diana, while treating the injury. The detail was deeply personal, unusual, and almost guaranteed to become late-night comedy material. And Jimmy Kimmel wasted no time turning it into one of his most memorable Prince Harry segments.
I thought Meghan and Harry came across well. They seemed they seemed genuine, but there was one part of the interview that didn't ring true to me when Oprah asked if they've seen a certain Netflix show. All right, nobody watches some of The Crown. Once you start The Crown, you finish The Crown, you're hooked. Harry said racism was a big part of their decision to leave, which you know things are bad at Buckingham Palace if they came to America to get away from racism. It's like trying to get some peace and quiet at Chuck E. Cheese. The reaction in the UK this morning was fierce. Megxile, fights, camera, action. Queen, Duty and Family Unite Us. That's public service for you, Harry and Meghan, not a self-serving TV chat with Oprah. A lot of Brits are pissed, but Harry and Meghan live here now, and America loves.
Jimmy Kimmel took that unusual detail from Prince Harry's memoir and pushed it into full comedy territory. Instead of simply mentioning the story during his monologue, Kimmel created an entire parody around it, showing how quickly Harry's personal revelations had become material for late-night entertainment. The segment featured a fake children's book titled The Prince and the Penis, a parody inspired by The Princess and the Pea. Kimmel presented the story, with illustrations and dramatic narration, turning one of the memoir's most awkward moments into a comedy sketch. Clips from the segment quickly spread online, and the reaction showed just how much the public conversation surrounding Harry and Meghan had changed. Years earlier, the couple had received major sympathy after stepping away from royal duties and speaking publicly about their experiences. But by the time Spare was released, some viewers appeared increasingly tired of hearing private royal conflicts discussed through interviews, documentaries, podcasts, and books. That change gave comedians plenty of material. Kimmel also focused on what critics saw as a major contradiction surrounding Prince Harry's public image. Harry was born into extraordinary wealth and privilege, yet his memoir centered heavily on personal struggles, family conflicts, and the difficulties he experienced inside the royal system. Supporters argued that privilege does not prevent emotional pain, while critics questioned why so many private details needed to become public. For late-night comedians, that tension was impossible to ignore. But Chris Rock and Jimmy Kimmel's jokes did not appear in isolation. They arrived after years of intense publicity surrounding Harry and Meghan.
That made me laugh as well.
Mama, that's Jackie. We've been married 9 years.
He goes on, I had to trim all this for you. We got 3 grandkids.
You know I'm playing, right, Jackie? Just give me time, give me time. Meghan Markle. I know the dilemma. Black girl trying to be accepted by her white in-laws. I'm like, hey, if you black and you want to be accepted by your white in-laws, then you need to marry a Kardashian.
The couple had participated in major interviews, released a Netflix documentary series, launched media projects, and continued discussing their experiences after leaving royal duties. At the same time, Harry and Meghan repeatedly spoke about wanting more control over their private lives and their relationship with the media. Critics saw a contradiction. From that perspective, asking for privacy while continuing to release personal stories through major media projects created an easy opening for comedy. Supporters, however, argued that choosing when and how to share personal experiences is different from allowing constant media intrusion. That disagreement became part of the larger debate surrounding the couple. Chris Rock's comedy special attracted even more attention because it appeared on Netflix, the same platform that had released major content featuring Harry and Meghan. Some royal commentators suggested the situation was uncomfortable for the Sussexes. Netflix had provided them with a global platform to tell their story, and only months later, the same streaming service broadcast a comedy special where Meghan became the subject of sharp jokes. Jimmy Kimmel took a different approach. Instead of focusing on one major comedy special, Kimmel repeatedly used Harry and Meghan as material across multiple monologues and segments. That repeated exposure mattered. When a celebrity becomes a regular punchline on late-night television, the public conversation around that person can change.
2, attention. Can't get enough attention. We used to want love. Now we just want likes. Posting up pathetic pictures. This is me eating sushi. Like me. Easiest way to get attention is to be a victim.
There you go. He said it. He said it, not me. He said it.
Everybody claims to be a victim. When the real victims need help, ain't nobody gonna be there to help them. And right now we live in a world where the emergency room is filled up with motherfuckers with paper cuts. America. Everybody trying to be a victim.
Criticism that once seemed controversial can gradually become more accepted as entertainment, especially when audiences repeatedly laugh at the same contradictions and public controversies. And both comedians had enormous platforms. Chris Rock was one of the most recognizable stand-up comedians in the world, while Jimmy Kimmel had spent years speaking to millions of viewers through late-night television. Their jokes did not prove that every criticism of Harry and Meghan was accurate, but they did show something important about the changing public mood. Major entertainers were increasingly willing to question the Sussexes' public image, challenge parts of their story, and turn their most personal revelations into comedy. And once that shift happened, Harry and Meghan were no longer controlling the conversation alone. The comedians, commentators, and audiences reacting to them had become part of the story too. The bigger story was no longer about a single Chris Rock joke or one Jimmy Kimmel monologue. It was about how comedy had become another force shaping the public conversation around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Once celebrities become regular material for comedians, their public image can change in ways that carefully planned interviews cannot easily control. A serious accusation can lead to weeks of debate. A contradiction can produce endless opinion pieces. But one sharp joke can take the same controversy and spread it across the internet within hours.
Was the most
Of course,
talked about thing.
because of the, yeah.
So everyone at the time was like, you've got to do Meghan Markle, you've got to do Meghan Markle. And I thought that would be a good little added thing, you know, with the Britishness.
I'm assuming
of
Chris
Prince
Rock
Harry.
does a bit on her.
He must do a bit on her. So
Okay.
I found the clip.
Okay.
We genuinely have not seen this,
Okay.
including myself. We still haven't got round to watching the whole special, which we really need to.
That was the difficult position facing Harry and Meghan. Critics were already questioning the contrast between the couple's public complaints about media pressure and their continued participation in major interviews, documentaries, books, and entertainment projects. Supporters argued that telling their own story was different from having private moments exposed without permission. But comedians did not need to settle that debate. They only needed to highlight the contradiction. Chris Rock questioned Meghan's expectations about joining the royal family. Jimmy Kimmel turned Harry's deeply personal memoir revelations into comedy sketches. Both approaches took complicated controversies and reduced them to simple jokes that audiences could immediately understand. And that is where comedy becomes powerful. People who might never watch a long royal documentary or read hundreds of pages about palace drama could still see a short comedy clip and form an opinion. Those clips could then spread across social media, attracting reactions from viewers who already supported Harry and Meghan, people who strongly disliked them, and others who were simply watching the controversy unfold. The conversation became bigger than the original jokes. Some viewers treated the comedy as proof that public sympathy toward the Sussexes was weakening. Others believed the jokes were unfair and ignored the serious experiences Harry and Meghan had described. But one thing was difficult to deny. The couple had become much easier to criticize publicly. Earlier in their departure from royal duties, much of the discussion focused on their allegations against the palace and the pressure they said they experienced from the British press. Years later, the conversation had expanded. Now critics were also discussing their media deals, repeated interviews, public family disputes, expensive lifestyle, and decision to reveal private royal information.
Meghan Markle make her own pretzel bags. They don't know why.
That's interesting. She takes it from one bag and puts it in another bag.
There's another bag.
And that confuses.
I was curious what they did with Harry and Meghan's wax figures, so I found a museum employee who's temporarily storing.
You just tell her that your grandmother is the f***ing queen, and you're in the royal family. I don't know how to break this to you, H. But if you weren't in the royal family, M wouldn't be with you.
Every new project created another opportunity for scrutiny, and comedians understood exactly how to use that material. They did not need to prove every criticism or convince the audience that one side of the royal conflict was completely right. Instead, they focused on moments where the couple's public statements appeared inconsistent with their actions. That approach was especially effective because humor can make complicated criticism feel simple. If someone says they want distance from the media but continues appearing in major media projects, comedians can turn that tension into one sentence. If someone publishes deeply personal details in a best-selling memoir, late-night hosts can transform those revelations into sketches. And once the audience starts laughing, controlling the original message becomes much harder. That does not mean every joke is fair or every criticism is accurate. Harry and Meghan still have supporters who believe the couple were justified in speaking publicly about their experiences and using major platforms to tell their side of the story. But the comedy showed that their public image was no longer protected by the same level of sympathy they may have received earlier. The discussion had changed. Instead of only asking what happened to Harry and Meghan inside the royal family, more people were now asking whether the couple's own decisions had contributed to the backlash surrounding them.
These two ditched the royal family, came to the States. It's not clear to me why, having said everything they've said about the royals and the culture of the palace, why they would want these titles for their children. That seems
exactly
somewhat
right.
puzzling to me.
Because they have their titles, royal stationery, and this means nothing to them, but it's super fun to be a royal, so you can pound sand if you don't like it. And they may or may not go to the coronation. They've been invited to the coronation, but these two losers, I mean, as if they're going to skip that. Does anybody believe that? Have they ever chosen to forego a chance to be the center of attention or on cam? They will be there.
I mean, Lord knows
And if
those
they're
Netflix cameras are following them to that coronation.
And that question opened the door to an even bigger issue. What happens when celebrity storytelling, massive media deals, and public sympathy begin colliding with each other? By this point, the biggest issue was not whether every joke from Chris Rock or Jimmy Kimmel was fair. The bigger issue was that Harry and Meghan had become public figures whose words, business decisions, interviews, and personal revelations were constantly being compared against each other. And once those contradictions became comedy material, the couple could no longer control how the conversation developed. Chris Rock challenged Meghan's complaints about royal life and questioned whether some of the situations she described were being presented in the most dramatic way possible. Jimmy Kimmel focused more heavily on Prince Harry, turning details from Spare and the couple's public interviews into repeated late-night jokes. Neither comedian proved that every accusation against Harry and Meghan was correct, but their routines showed how much the atmosphere surrounding the Sussexes had changed. The couple once entered their post-royal life with major media attention, powerful entertainment deals, and support from people who believed they had been treated unfairly. Over time, however, every new interview, documentary, book, and public statement created more material for critics to examine. And that is where the story becomes bigger than comedy. When public figures repeatedly share private conflicts with millions of people, audiences will eventually start comparing old statements with new decisions. Some viewers will remain supportive, others will become skeptical, and comedians will always look for the contradictions that create the strongest punchlines.
Although it's their only cultural relevance.
But maybe not, because again, like they've had projects scuttled in like the last year. I think interest in them is really waning. There's a lot of interest, obviously, in like people who are willing to criticize them. Like you, Meghan, your stuff does really well when you talk about them because there's a huge market for it that's not being served. Because people are actually like, what are you talking about? You're insulting this country. You're insulting decent human beings, and you're trying to make money and profit off of all of it. And then you want to turn around and use those profits to censor us, to make our lives more unfair, to do all of these different things that is an abuse of your power. And so I think people are absolutely sick of it.
Chris Rock and Jimmy Kimmel did exactly that. They took serious royal controversies and turned them into entertainment, giving millions of viewers a completely different way to look at the public image Harry and Meghan had created. Whether those jokes were too harsh or simply reflected growing frustration depends on who is watching. But one thing is clear, the Sussexes are no longer discussed only as former working royals who left Britain seeking a different life. They are now celebrities whose every interview, business project, family dispute, and public claim can become part of the entertainment cycle. So what do you think? Did Chris Rock and Jimmy Kimmel cross the line with their jokes, or were they simply pointing out contradictions that critics had already noticed? Share your opinion in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button, share this video with someone who follows celebrity drama, and subscribe for more stories about the controversies, feuds, and unexpected moments surrounding the biggest names in entertainment. And don't leave yet. Watch the next video appearing on your screen for even more celebrity drama and another story that takes the controversy even deeper. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.